Hello, I'm Dr. James Bogash, expert in health and longevity and creator of Bogash Life in Balance. And today we're going to talk about the nasty esophageal cancer, specifically the squamous cell type, which makes up a huge chunk. Around 88% of cancers are squamous cell versus adenocarcinoma of the esophagus. But either way, it's not a good cancer to have, and having your esophagus and stomach removed and cancer and chemo and radiation is not a good thing. So anything we can do to lower our risk is always high on the list. But we have to start this by talking about heartburn, because heartburn can lead to things like Barrett's esophagus, where the cell types start to change in the esophagus, and that greatly increases somebody's risk of esophageal cancer. But most doctors will give somebody acid blocking drugs like Nexium, Prilosec, or Omeprazole, and pat themselves on the back, and the heartburn's better, and we all go home and we think we've done something, but we really haven't, because those drugs don't change the trajectory, because you haven't fixed the problem. It's not the acid, it's acid getting where it's not supposed to be. It's inflammation in the esophagus, and that's where things like food allergies have a big role to play. One of the studies I love to quote was a study on I think it was about 200 people, but don't quote me on that. And they were people with esophageal or eosinophilic esophagitis. So these people had inflammation in their esophagus, and they were asked at the beginning of the study, like, hey, do you have any food allergies? And they're all like, oh, no, I don't have any food allergies. I've been checked. 90% of them had food allergies that when they were removed from their diet, the eosinophilic, the white blood cells went away. And when they reintroduced them, it came back. So they all said, I just find it crazy, is they were all told they don't have food allergies, and they all had food allergies, like 90% of them, that were playing a huge role in what was going on. So diet plays a very strong role, which brings us to this particular study looking at plant-based compounds, specifically the isoflavones that we find in like soy. Soy are the highest levels, but they're in all legumes. So things like chickpeas, peanuts, pistachios. Are pistachios legumes? They might be. They were listed as part of that. I always thought they were nuts, but they may be legumes. I should probably find that out. So anyway, so they... So isoflavones, and then certain plant-based compounds like the anthocyanidins that are found in like berries, and your pigments, your colored pigments, especially like the blue ones, which are not that common in nature if you think about it. And they found that the isoflavones in general lowered esophageal cancer rates. This was a large study. Like they compared 820 people with esophageal cancer to 863 people who didn't. So a pretty big study. 66% lower risk with isoflavones in general, specifically the diazidin, genistein, some of those other isoflavones in there, they all dropped it like precipitously. Like that's a huge change. The anthocyanidins, not quite as big of a strain, but still a pretty respectable 40 to 45% reduced rates. Like that's huge. The challenge is that I meant the eosinophilic esophagitis study, soy was one of the common allergens. And so soy, dairy, corn, wheat, and eggs, I think, were on the list. But important factor to understand, and we're also not talking about the crappy soy-based GMO stuff that you'd get in a fake veggie burger, or God forbid, a meatless burger thing. So it's kind of a balancing act there. You can also get your isoflavones from other sources, as I mentioned, the legume family. But regardless, diet showed a very powerful protective factor in esophageal cancer in this study. So as always, I'll post a link to this particular study in the description. Make sure you like this video, share it with somebody who you think needs the information, and subscribe to the channel.